How can we avoid being led by delusion and find a shortcut in spiritual practice?
In the process of spiritual cultivation, there are indeed shortcuts. If there weren't, then the teachings wouldn't need to differentiate between various methods, as seen in the Tiantai school, which categorizes teachings into 4 levels: store, interrelated, specific, and perfect. Each method offers different speeds of progress, much like different vehicles. Some are slow like bicycles, while others are fast like great ox carts. Progress in spiritual cultivation isn't simply about how long one practices, but is closely tied to the method used. Without the right approach, even decades of practice won't lead to significant change because delusions will continue to dominate one's life. To progress more quickly, it's crucial to locate the starting point of your existence, as explained in the Surangama Sutra. Where do you come from? This understanding is vital, because if you try to manage life from a delusional mindset, there will be no solution to your suffering. True mindfulness at the moment of death is about breaking free from delusion. Although it's normal to have delusions, it's essential not to be led by them. There are 2 kinds of mindfulness at death. For saints, it's pure and undistracted. For ordinary people, it's about not being swayed by delusion. The key is to position yourself from a standpoint where delusion, afflictions, karma, and death don't inherently exist, training yourself to stay in that state. For instance, if you have a conflict with your child, it's caused by past karma. But remember, this child didn't inherently exist before and won't be with you after you die. Understanding this karmic process helps you avoid attachment and see through delusions. This principle applies universally. Nothing, whether children or property, inherently belongs to you. It's all just temporary karmic manifestation. The main takeaway from the Surangama Sutra is this: remain grounded in your true nature and view all experiences from a place where delusions and attachments do not ultimately exist.
Facing existence from the perspective of emptiness is the path of great wisdom.
Standing in the perspective of emptiness to face existence is the approach of a person with great wisdom. This is because in life, we have 2 possible mindsets that yield very different outcomes. The choice is whether to approach life from the view of emptiness toward existence or from existence towards emptiness. Life will either feel liberating or confining based on this orientation. A wise person stands in the view of emptiness, knowing that fundamentally, all phenomena are transient and empty in nature. This allows them to move freely through life circumstances, unburdened by attachments. Coming from this vantage point of emptiness, they can handle situations without hindrance and do what needs to be done. However, if someone clings to existence and faces the inevitability of emptiness, such as in death, their life becomes full of suffering and limitations. They're pulled along by karmic forces and delusions, entangled in an endless cycle because they haven't freed themselves from attachments to the impermanent aspects of life. Often, we make life unnecessarily complicated by standing in existence to face emptiness. We cling too strongly to our thoughts, perceptions, and desires, leading to suffering. This attachment weighs down our karmic load and intensifies our samsaric cycles. We're so absorbed in these illusions that our minds become clouded with confusion and suffering. This principle is essential. In truth, before being influenced by worldly distractions, our nature was inherently pure, free, and equal. This innate state remains within us, but over time, we've drifted, associating with delusions as if they were our reality. To rediscover this original state, we must first step back from reactive impulses, especially when faced with challenges. Don't immediately react to situations. Instead, first pause adjust your mindset, and remind yourself, my original nature was undisturbed by this. Detach from dualistic conflicts and mental constructs, which are merely delusions. When you face life from the perspective of original purity, your mind will remain calm and clear. Train yourself by continuously reminding yourself, my true nature is originally pure. Repeating this 3 times before engaging with a situation helps you settle into a state of true nature, or tat hat. This way of thinking and responding gradually establishes the peace needed for the clarity required at life's end, cultivated steadily throughout one's practice.
True mindfulness at the time of death is not about suppressing delusions with chanting.
At the critical juncture of life's end, true mindfulness is not achieved by using the recitation of the Buddha's name to suppress delusions. Many mistakenly believe they can overpower their habitual thoughts through sheer repetition of chanting. However, as the Buddhist Master Jìng explains, this approach is fundamentally flawed. Without the foundation of insight and genuine grounding in the nature of truth, chanting becomes ineffective in addressing the deep-seated patterns of delusion that have been cultivated over countless lifetimes. Jìng uses a powerful analogy. Even if one recites tens of thousands of Buddha names daily for 100 years, the delusions suppressed are as insignificant as a handful of dirt, while the delusions left untamed are as vast as the earth itself. Suppression alone is insufficient. What is needed is wisdom and insight that allow one to transcend delusion altogether.
The root of true mindfulness, grounding in reality.
True mindfulness is built on a solid foundation of wisdom that answers 2 essential questions. 1. Where should the mind dwell? 2. How should the mind be tamed? The key is understanding where to anchor the mind. Without finding this proper dwelling place, any attempts to regulate or guide one's thoughts will be futile. When the mind is anchored in delusions and external phenomena, spiritual practice becomes a strenuous effort with little to no meaningful results. By contrast, anchoring the mind in its inherently pure and tranquil nature, the original clarity, provides stability, clarity, and ease in one's practice.
Overcoming delusion, a shift in perspective.
Suppressing delusions by engaging with them directly is an endless battle. Instead, the focus should shift from reacting to delusions to dwelling in the intrinsic purity of one's mind. Although habitual thoughts and distractions may still arise, the practitioner learns not to live in them, but to remain rooted in the awareness of their original nature. This shift in perspective enables a calm and unwavering focus, even in the face of challenges. It is this grounded awareness, not the endless suppression of thoughts, that ensures clarity and mindfulness at the time of passing. By training oneself in this perspective during life, one can achieve a state of mindfulness that transcends delusion, leading to a peaceful and purposeful transition at life's end.
If your mindset is still impulsive, it will lead you to a dead end.
Let's explore the second concept, returning from delusion to truth. If we wish to recover our original nature from the distractions of delusion, we must first make 3 vows. 1. Vow to sever evil. Commit to cultivating morality, concentration, and wisdom, and avoiding impure actions of body, speech, and mind. This is known as the virtue of cutting off and leads to the restoration of original purity. 2. Vow to cultivate good. Engage in virtuous practices such as the 6 perfections, which accumulate spiritual resources and manifest the virtue of wisdom, restoring inherent freedom. 3. Vow to liberate all beings. Cultivate compassion and perform acts of kindness to restore equality and demonstrate the virtue of benevolence. The progression begins by first cutting off evil to reveal truth, which means distancing oneself from delusion.
A story of awakening, the Snow Peak Zen Master.
A younger Zen practitioner once traveled up a mountain to visit Snow Peak Zen Master, Xuefeng Chanshi, a renowned spiritual teacher. After ascending the mountain, the practitioner respectfully bowed to the master. The Zen master asked, "Where did you come from?" The practitioner replied, "I climbed up from the foot of the mountain." The master responded, "That must have been tiring." The practitioner replied, "Out of admiration for your virtue, I endured the effort willingly." Recognizing the practitioner's attachment, the Zen master remarked, "You are still intoxicated." The word intoxicated here referred to being lost in delusions and attachments. Feeling humbled, the practitioner immediately knelt and pleaded, "Please, Master, show me the way to awaken. I have traveled far for your guidance, but don't know how to proceed." The Zen master gave a simple instruction: "Go out." He then turned and walked away. The phrase "go out" meant to step out of delusion. It was a call to stop residing in the confines of one's delusive thoughts and attachments.
The key to practice. Begin by establishing stability.
At the start of practice, one does not directly confront delusion. Attempting to battle delusions head-on without preparation is like recklessly fighting a machine gun with a knife. It is bound to lead to failure and frustration. Instead, the first step is to detach from delusions entirely by cultivating a stable foundation. Anzhu Li. Once stability is achieved, one gains the ability to work on subduing delusions. Tiao Fu Li. This requires positioning oneself in a perspective free of delusion and rooted in purity. Only from this vantage point can one effectively deal with delusive thoughts. Reversing the natural order of practice is disastrous. It leads to a lifetime of struggle with no spiritual progress. Anchoring oneself in the clarity of emptiness, Kongxing, the pure and unconditioned mind, is a crucial principle. In summary, first establish stability in emptiness before working to subdue delusion. This is the path to spiritual growth and liberation. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Buddhist wisdom. I hope this video brought some insight and reflection to your path. If it resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment to share your thoughts. Stay tuned for our next exploration together as we dive deeper into these teachings. Until then, may you find peace, clarity, and compassion in every step. See you soon.